Good morning, chairpersons, delegates. This is in a difficult or different, not so difficult, but different presentation. And we do get coronary artery disease, and we do get patients who need a uterine artery embolization, but it was a one patient. This was a presentation of this lady who is 43 years, presented with unstable angina of recent onset, and her symptoms continued in spite of full medical therapy. And so it was considered the patient should be taken for angiography and possible intervention. She showed severe 90% stenosis of LAD and diagonal bifurcation. And the comorbidities were anemic. She was anemic, and then we found out with a detailed history that she had a fibroid uterus with excessive bleeding. So this was the coronary angiogram, and I hope you will agree that this is a very, very tight and critical stenosis where some intervention is needed to relieve the angina because it was not possible with the help of medical management alone. So once we were considering doing an angioplasty, the big question came because she is having loss of blood frequently because of the fibroid uterus. And with this problem, when we give dual antiplatelet therapy, it will be a problem to avoid this bleeding. Even the surgery for fibroid would have been difficult because of clopidogrel and aspirin on the board. So we took a decision to go ahead and fix the coronaries. I will not go in details because this is the usual, you do a side branch, then you go to both the branches, and finally you do the kissing balloon, which was done in this case, and we obtained a reasonably good result of both the coronary arteries were showing a good patent flow, and that was the result which we obtained. So in the same hospital setting, it was a question what is to be done next. Coronary angioplasty and stenting of LAD diagonal was done. Uterine artery embolization for the management of the possible bleeding from the fibroids was undertaken. And this is the typical picture of the fibroid, what uterus or it have. You see a lot of collateral flow which is going into the fibroid mass, and that's difficult to be treated otherwise. Surgery is done, and there are different kind of surgeries which are applied for it. So intervention, I think those, to my younger colleagues, those who may not be aware of this, that this treatment of uterine artery embolization was started as a palliative therapy in Paris, and it was considered the patient, there was a long waiting list for the ladies who are waiting for the uterine artery surgery. So they decided to put some embolic material, gel foam, and just to keep this temporarily tied over. But later on it was realized that some of the patients were completely cured of their bleeding problem, and the size of uterus decreased. This cartoon shows how the schema of the presentation, you put a catheter either from the same side or other side, or some operators proceed advice from both the sides. You can embolize the small particles selectively into uterine arteries. And this is the usual scene. What happens, that size shrinks once the supply is reduced. And this is of our patient, what we did on the same hospital admission. And this is again the magnified view of the same cartoon. And this is on our patient. You can see very highly vascular tumor. And then we put a PVC particles, and after that you can hardly see any flow. The dye is holding on, and it's only blood flow is going outside. So the results of the post-PCI patients remain asymptomatic for more than 2 years follow-up. Excessive uterine bleeding remained under control. Dual ND platelets were continued for more than a year, clopidogrel and Plavix, and clopidogrel and aspirin, sorry. Chronic anemia was controlled. So this was our finding for this patient, and I find this interesting because of two pathologies at the same time. Thank you very much.
Dr. Lochan, would you like to highlight some technical issues while doing this uterine artery embolization?
No, I think for most of the interventionalists and cardiologists, it's a very simple procedure. Those who, one important point is when you're using the same route like a right femoral, which we commonly use, I use usually a internal memory artery catheter or right coronary artery catheter, which selectively hooks, because if you're going a ipsilateral side into the internal iliac, it's very difficult because then it's an acute curve. But sometimes you can manage with a thermo wire and you can advance it and fix it. But at times in this patient, I have to go to the opposite groin to take the puncture for the left coronary left iliac artery. So this is the technical point. Otherwise, you have to go a super selective catheter and try to go as far as possible, because if you do embolize proximally, you can embolize much larger area, which is not needed. Interestingly, uterus has got triple supply. That's why even if you embolize both uterine arteries, there is no ischemia to the uterus because they get a supply from the ovarian arteries. Another point which is very important from the uterine arteries, most of the patient will never forgive you, because after this necrosis, there's such a severe pain that lady remains for 2 days with the pain because uterus is shrinking in size as necrosis sets in. One of the patient, my anesthetist did a very good job, and he put a intrathecal line and for the pain management, and it was kept for 24 hours. We kept giving diamorphine, and that's controlled the pain. It was very comfortable.
Why fibroid first? Why coronary first?
Say again?
Why was coronary done first? Why not fibroid first?
It could have been. The patient was very unstable. His presentation was unstable angina and rest pain. That was different. That could have been done if you have because only the investigation was considered for uterine artery because of the patient was in hospital for acute coronary syndrome. Otherwise, she would be in the care of the gynecologist, who are very reluctant to send the patient to the interventions.
Is there any problem in spillover of the particles in the other branches?
Absolutely. That's one has to be very careful. That's why I said that it's always better to use a microcatheter and go selectively. And second point is when you inject the particle, you have to be slow. If you inject very fast, the spillover is very common. That can go to peripheral and embolize. It may not cause a major problem in the leg area, but if you're doing somewhere else, it can embolize to a larger vital organ. That could be a difficult problem.
To avoid that, you want to block the proximal portion? Or
no, but basically you push the catheter as far as possible, so it blocks the backflow of the artery. And if you use a finer catheter, which some of the neuro people use it, that finer catheter is very useful. That go right up to the smaller branch.
This embolization was done with microcatheter.
Initial part was done microcatheter. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Lochan.